Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. And this is Hunter here. We are the Real Pineapple, and I am flying solo this weekend as Colin and Scott are out of town. Guys, I miss you. I'll see you this upcoming weekend. So, I'm here to talk about a movie. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because, to be honest with you, this doesn't deserve more than a 10-minute long review. I'm talking about Batman and Harley Quinn, the latest DC animated movie. So, here's the thing. I actually, because I know what some people are immediately thinking. They're thinking, oh, Hunter's talking about DC movie. He absolutely hated it. Here's the thing about DC. I think Batman the Animated Series, which just celebrated its 25 year anniversary, I think it's one of the greatest shows that's ever been made. Not just greatest cartoons, greatest shows that's ever been made. I give Bruce Timm and everyone at the DC Animation Studios department all the credit in the world. That was probably my main. Actually, it was my first main introduction into anything superhero or comic book based. I think Kevin Conroy is the greatest Batman. I don't give a shit what people say about Christian Bale. Christian Bale, Ben Affleck. Nope. It's forever Kevin Conroy, and Mark Hamill will always be the Joker to me. All the respect in the world to Heath Ledger, may he rest in peace. But no one struck that balance between psychotic and hilarious like Mark Hamill has done, and I think that his voice work is some of the best in the business. With all that said, this is a very mediocre movie. I and all that to say though, so I saw the just to show how much of a fan I am of the DC animated slate. I went and actually saw The Killing Joke when it came out in theaters on a Tuesday night. I never see movies during the week. I always wait till the weekend when they come out. But I was so intrigued by The Killing Joke, and I remember just leaving that theater just so disappointed and thinking, damn, that this should have been great. And it really felt like DC, I don't know if they didn't want to push the line to where it needed to go to have a faithful adaptation of that, or if they're just unwilling to go there. The problem with this movie is that it's tone clash over and over again. Um, they clearly wanted to kind of have this. At points, it almost feels like a Looney Tunes cartoon. At points, honestly. So the shorthand version of this is Poison Ivy is wanting to go ahead and use this chemical compound to go ahead and basically turn everything into a plant, like people, buildings, all that shit. Just turn everything into a plant. And so it's up to Batman and Nightwing. I always love seeing Nightwing to go ahead and stop her. But the person who knows Ivy the best is, you guessed it, Harley Quinn. So they have to go ahead and bring her into the mix. So I'll start with what I liked. Batman is an asshole, and if there's a complaint about the character in general, I think a lot of times that's not really focused on nearly enough. Just how much of a selfish piece of shit Batman is. So this is almost not an apology for Batman, but it definitely felt like they kind of went not out of their way, but definitely established pretty early on that Batman's gonna get tortured because he's been kind of a tool. So I did enjoy seeing Harley Quinn, who's voiced by Melissa Rauch of The Big Bang Theory, of course Bernadette. I will say her voice didn't bug me. She's no Tara Strong, but if people don't like her voice, I totally understand it because it is a little jarring at first. It's not really that different from the voice she uses for Bernadette. So if her voice on there bugs you, on Big Bang Theory bugs you, I totally get why it would bug you. So it does take some getting used to because, I'm used to hearing Tara Strong. So a little jarring, but, what are you going to do, I guess. But she's great. She's pretty good. I think Kevin Conroy, this is some of the best voice work he's done because he just sounds so exasperated at points. He's so irritated by Harley, and I think what made me laugh really hard is that there's a good amount of if they wanted to do a Nightwing Harley Quinn movie, I would actually be very curious to see them do it, because the movie almost goes out of its way to establish that, hey, these two have a chemistry, and they end up sleeping together, which is odd. So there's this point where Harley basically gets knocks Nightwing out, has him tied to a bed, and she goes, "Hey, like, I haven't gotten laid in a while," and she has him tied to a bed, and he's kind of looking up at her like, "What the fuck is going on?" So he never comes out and says, like, fuck me, because they would totally put that in a DC movie, but he goes, "Oh, I sleeping with you could be nice, like weird but nice," and then she goes, "I'll take that as a yes," and then they bone. It's a little weird, honestly, and I feel like there were better ways they could have done that, but sure, I guess. But what I will say is that that scene does lead to some great comedy, because Harley is prodding him just enough to go ahead and go like, "Hey, remember how you did A, B, and C?" And Nightwing freaks out, and Batman just looks over at Nightwing like, "God damn it, you fucking idiot," because Batman has all the room to talk about sleeping with a supervillain, which the movie brings up, so kudos to it for that. But there's a lot of sequences and there's a lot of points in this movie where there's just nothing happening. It's just dialogue, and the pacing is all over the place. Sometimes it's erratic and kind of frantic, almost like one of those like an old Looney Tune. It's frantic like that, and sometimes it just slows to a crawl, like the middle of of Man of Steel, where nothing is happening. And you're kind of sitting there thinking, can this hurry up and kind of get along already? It's a little frustrating, because I feel like if the script was better, there honestly could have been something really, at points, maybe even brilliant. It's only 74 minutes too. I mean, it's short, and honestly, it feels like it at points, but sometimes it feels like they just didn't know what the hell they were doing. It's frustrating, honestly, because this really could have been great, but the tones just clash so much. Sometimes it's really corny, but then there will be a death scene where you go, "Whoa, that's dark," and I think it's smart, because if Lego Batman taught us anything, it's that Batman takes himself way too seriously, and Harley constantly harps on him about that when they're together, which is really funny. But for every kind of good comedic speech like that, there's a whole scene where Harley just farts because she had she had bad wings, and it's like, guys, come on, like, I know you have better writers than this. So it's frustrating. I thought Packet Brewster, who of course was on Criminal Minds, she plays Poison Ivy, or voices Poison Ivy. I thought she did a damn good job for what she had. I think Ivy's always been one of those villains that it can be very hit and miss, but when she's done correctly, I think she's an extremely dangerous rogue, and you get a little bit of kind of back and forth between her and Harley, which was actually pretty cool to see. But yeah, overall, for every step forward it took a couple steps back, and so it was kind of a bummer, because I saw a lot of untapped potential with this, and they just wouldn't. They just needed someone to come through and punch this up a little bit and get some more jokes in and balance the tones. So yeah, not a whole lot of action in this. Like I said, it does go back and forth. Melissa Ranch's her voice work, I can totally see how it's divisive among DC fans. I've looked up a couple reviews, and that's one of the first things that's mentioned is, "This isn't Tara Strong. It's, I don't like her. Hashtag not my Harley." So I get it. I get why people are irked by this, but at the same time, it's not torturously bad. It's not even Killing Joke bad. It's to paraphrase Colin, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. So I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give this a C, because I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought the stuff that they kind of throw in for nods to the animated series, there's a point where the Batwing shows up and they play a version of the animated series main theme, which is still, I think, one of the best theme songs in the history of TV. I marked out a little bit for that. Oh my God, it's a Batwing. And the it's almost like a comedy trope between Batman and Nightwing and Harley Quinn. So there are some fun moments between the three of them. The way this movie ends, though, is such a what the fuck sort of moment that it really brought it down for me. Because I probably would have given this a C plus if they'd ended this better, but that ending, I went, nope, can't do that. So yeah, it's a C. It's average, but guys, have you seen Batman Harley Quinn? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can follow us here on SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play at The Real Pineapple. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. Follow Scott on Twitter at Nearman the First, and you can follow Colin on Twitter at The Real. That's REEL O'Neill. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this weekend for it, along with a review up for Kingsman, the Golden Circle, which I'm so excited for. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.